Hello and welcome to Big Question series of webinar brought to you by Schoolnet India. I am Vagish Jha. I head the teacher training and academic wing of the Schoolnet. Schoolnet India, as many of you would already know, entered the education sector as early as 1997 to leverage the opportunity through innovative programs and integrated technology solutions. Preparing schools for 21st century by harnessing the digital space, our flagship product, Kayan, presented a new way of going about tech-enabled learning. Genio is our latest offering as a personalized learning platform to radically transform the teaching learning ecosystem. In our journey of over 2 decades, teachers and school leaders have been our partners in progress. Our unflinching commitment to offer quality education opportunities to schools of the middle and the bottom of the pyramids, we have forged lasting partnerships with them. This is the segment of school that caters to around 75% of the students. This is the kind of a school who have been hit the hardest by the pandemic. These are the school leaders who have shown exemplary character to bounce back by doing amazing innovation in uncertain times. And I repeat this over and over again, that there is no given template that can be effective to solve an unprecedented crisis. We believe, therefore, that putting our heads together, listening to the school leaders is the only way to find an effective answer. The Big Question webinar series is conceptualized as an intimate dialogue to find a collective wisdom to help us reimagine the future of education. We have with us 3 experts from leading schools who share their experience and vision of recovering education in this big question. Welcome you all to this opportunity. May I request all of you, please, ma'am and sir, to introduce yourself one by one. And while you are introducing yourself, it would be good if you can share one core concern in brief as a kind of a start. Yes. So let's begin with Reena, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm not a teacher, but I am an awakener. Hello, everyone. Borrowing the line of Robert Frost, I earnestly feel we as teachers can change lives with just right mix of chalk and challenges. And now, to add to it, computers, cells, chalk, and challenges. I am Reena Joshi. I'm the senior teacher from Neely Modern School, Nagpur, with experience of more than 20 years. I am also a research scholar working on transgender autobiography and recipient of fellowship of Humsafar Trust and Thomson Reuters. I'm super excited to be here, excited about the amazing conversation. Well, about personalized learning, my core concern is how can we really keep teachers and students motivated all the time? Let us see what my fellow participants say. Thank you.
Excellent. Pradeep, sir. You have to unmute yourself, sir. Okay, so by the time Pradeep sir comes, may I go to Pratima ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pratima Patel. I'm the Vice Principal of Adelaide International Preschool and Shantiniketan School. I started my career with Fidelity Investments, a corporate sector. And when I realized my passion is teaching, the school where I studied was kind enough to give me an opportunity. I'm always grateful to the school, Sri Sarvagna Public School, which provided me an opportunity to be a teacher and molded me to be a vice principal. So my core concern about the education system that has been changed so far is about the adaptation. Teachers were quick enough to adapt and accept the changes that happened. Whatever pandemic posed, the challenges that were posed by the pandemic were easily accepted by them, and the outcome is wonderful. But the concern is how far are the parents and students accepting it? So that is the core concern.
Fantastic. May I go to Pradeep sir now?
Yeah. Myself, Pradeep Sarangi, Director, Centurion Public School. I did my MBA from FMS Delhi, and I have worked so in the corporate sector. And in the year 1998, I thought about the education, what kind of education should we provide to the society, which would uplift them. So I thought about then I have started the education institution in the remote part of Odisha. My core concern is that now in this pandemic situation taught us a very big lesson. Then the online system and personalized learning is a part of our life. But we have to teach the parents and we have to change the mindset of the parents, because still they are thinking after giving the online question, online education and personalized learning also, they need the offline classes. But it is the part of our life.
Okay, thank you. So this is the panel that we have today, and as I told you that these are the schools who are doing some exemplary work, and they are catering to the schools and to the students who are most in numbers in the country. And so going back to the question that Pradeep sir and also Pratima ma'am said, is that this pandemic hit us totally in a kind of a suddenly it hit us. Now, how have you coped with the challenges of adopting the tech-enabled learning? As Pradeep sir said that online it has become, the norm. It is new normal. So how have you adopted to the, how did you respond to the challenge of tech-enabled learning, and how the students and parents are responding to it? These are the two questions. I throw it open to any one of you who can pick it up. Yes.
It's about the acceptance of the challenges faced by posed by pandemic. Our school, Shantiniketana, was, in fact, we had the best experience. The teachers and the management, they coped up so well that we did not find it much different. Like every examination were conducted, like even including whatever we did offline, most of it went online as well. We had enough activities. Children were kept active throughout the year, and even the assessments, we have a complete record, and we can claim that our students have learned whatever was taught in the previous year. So that is the kind of commitment our teachers exhibited. And there were a lot of one-to-one interactions between the teachers and students. In fact, we could do a lot of things which we couldn't do when it was offline as well, like conducting the online sessions along with regular PTMs. It was very much easy for us to have individual attention. Many students gained individual attention, and there were a lot of the kind of activities that they came up with. It also, gadgets, who doesn't love gadgets? In fact, the children, they love it most. So we made use of the gadgets for their activities and help them come up with. Our students have also created a lot of videos, which we even project in our platforms, like social media platforms, which we have projected, and we have also given them certification for that. And these kind of activities, when we try to involve them into, it gave us a lot of good results. We could, the creativity in students were also, pulled out. It helped us a lot.
Fantastic. All right. This is very encouraging. And as I said in the beginning, that lots of innovations have happened. So it will be good if you could, share some examples also, because that is something that large number of people would be listening to it. So yes.
I'm sharing my experience. Before pandemic, we are very much used to give the offline classes. And basically, we are not going to the technology. Only we are just using your icon system, and Genio also we are having, and we are on the digital classes. But after pandemic, we just learned something that we need to go for the highly technologically fit for our education. So we have faced a lot of challenges from the teacher side, because we are staying in a very remote area in the Odisha. But there is no connectivity of your internet facilities properly. So we faced a lot of challenges to teach the teachers first. Now to go the online classes to reach the students. Again, the students, because what I found all the things in this scenario, that the students should be motivated first, self-motivated. Honestly, if they are not self-motivated, then we cannot force them to go for the personalized learning and the online classes. So we felt in that way, but slowly, gradually, we grown up, and we make the students also very much educated on that. They are going for the online. But in this season, after second year now, students are comfortable, teachers are comfortable, and teachers have learned so many things. Every day they are going a new innovation, because there should not be any stereotype system in the online also. Because if you will go for the stereotype system, the student will feel bored again. The project work, the activity, even we have done our annual function through the online. So now students are motivated, and they're also encouraged to go for the online.
Fantastic. Okay, Reena ma'am had a very wide smile when
Yeah, that was
Pradeep sir
amazing,
said,
you know.
yeah,
Social gathering. We
that,
couldn't do that, but we had a lot
yeah,
of co-curricular activities, sir. That reminded me of that. Okay, if we go back in history and see, you know, the technology, how it developed through ages, we can observe that writing slates were used in Indian school during 1100s. In year 1440, we had printing press, which was invented by Johannes Gutenberg. Then 1600s, we had abacus, which helped students in understanding the fundamental of math. Then we had Thomas Edison prompted film clips as replacement for teachers. So, and finally, you know, by 1960s, online education originated in University of Illinois. And in 1994, India's education technology journey finally began in India with the launch of EduCom. Now, as Sir said, we have amazing platform called as Genio. One should really visit. You know, if you miss something in the school, you can really catch up from there. And now, online learning is the future. And if there were no virus, that realization would have taken another few years. But this has accelerated the process. Yes, first year was really like we suffered a lot. Teachers were anxious, so many problems were there, you know. But anyway, this virus made the institution to go from offline mode to online mode of pedagogy. This crisis made us, you know, like earlier we were reluctant to change, to accept modern technology, but this catastrophe showed us the lucrative side of online teaching and learning. With the help of online teaching modes, we can sermonize a large number of students at any time and in any part of the world. We understood that. Well, I saw in the lower classes for our school, we had pre-recorded lectures where the teacher, you know, because of pre-recorded lectures, the teacher got more time to interact with the students. The software provided to the teachers with they provided them with immediate data and how each child was progressing. So if a student was stuck, then the teacher took his practice work and determined why he is having a trouble. Because of that, the teacher could intervene and help a struggling learner immediately. You know, she could help him to move instead of waiting to fail before getting the help they needed. And the most amazing part was that some tech savvy students, you know, they have now become unofficial IT staff for their peers. I remember I had problem with screen sharing, but then one smart child of my class, he told me that how I need to go about that. So it has become two-way, you know, even I am learning and they are learning from me. Yeah, thank you.
fantastic, fantastic. So this actually brings us to a very new kind of a scenario that the digital education has presented us with. In the offline kind of a mode, when teacher was the sage on the stage, now they are guided by the side, literally. And this is a two-way process that has started. And Reena ma'am has talked about the teachers' preparedness. That is one question now, that is logical question that is coming to us, is that how are we dealing with the teacher preparedness for online teaching in terms of their professional development? See, using some kind of a tool is one way of going about it, but then using it effectively is another thing. So my question, therefore, is that what are, in your opinion, the emerging needs for the teacher training that you see that now that online learning is going to stay? What are the kind of ways in which you think teacher professional development should take place? What are those emerging areas of need that are coming up?
Teachers training is most required, because first we have to convince the teachers, because he will transfer their knowledge to the students. So basically, teachers should understand that our part of life, 50% of life will be on the online from the next years. So when the teachers will convince that we have to go in the online process for the next couple of years, so they have to learn so many things, how to make the class interesting, because online class now, the digital class, online and social media, students are so fast than us, you cannot imagine. We are this money, they can make us full immediately. So students, teachers has to be more smart than the students. So teachers training is must required. Then how, and every day they will go for the innovation and they will start the new concept to the students. So that will make them interesting to the class. Then that can able to make the student to listen. But this is my perception,
Yeah. So what you are trying to say is that not just the adoption of technology, but how that technology can be infused into their pedagogical practices. That is the question.
Yes.
Okay. That is one very, very clear articulation. Okay. Anybody else? I mean, you can think of, we are trying to identify certain areas, certain issues that can be, first of all, agreed collectively, and then we can think of together that what are the best possible solutions to it. Yes, Pratima ma'am, you are ready to say something.
Blending technology with the pedagogy is the challenge that the teachers face, and that is where they require training. And as Reena ma'am rightly told, children are over smart when it comes to technology. So it is just like at the back of their hand, they have all the required knowledge to go through all these sessions. As ma'am told, when she didn't know how to share a screen, a student could help her. So it takes very less time for them to learn these things. So to avoid the students from overpowering the teacher, it is very much essential for the teachers to learn certain things that are essential for their classes. So we always kept telling teachers are first learners, and this is the time to prove that we are better learners. So, like the platforms like Genio, the way you have given the blended learning sessions, about it might be the recorded sessions that you give, the live sessions that you give, they set a very good example for the teachers how they can imbibe technology in what they teach. I mean, we always did this. Whenever we used to teach about plants, we try to blend it with technology. We used to start with the chalk and board method of teaching, where the teacher would draw the plant and show a child how where to start from and where to end. So that helped the children to draw the diagram in a very good way. And while the teacher drew the diagram, she also would explain the parts of the plant. And later, when it comes about when it is about the functions that had to be explained, we would use technology there. We also would make it a point to show live plants. We would get a plant, we would just pull it out of the soil, show how the root system helps the plant to stand straight. We would do all this. And along with this, when we would talk about the absorption, it was very difficult for a child to imagine absorption. That is when we had to bring them to an audio session. A video session. That is where we had to show them videos and do it. But now, looking at the current scenario, we are able to blend this very well in an online session compared to an offline session. And this way of blending, we can do this in several other topics as well, in maybe history, maybe civics, wherein like the subjects that appeared very dry to students. So teachers have to be trained in these ways, wherein they can blend technology along with the textbook and present it in a way that the child doesn't feel it bored. The boredom is becoming a little more because see, watching television for a period of time would keep them attractive, would keep them interested for that particular time. But after that, it wouldn't remain much in their mind because it was just an entertainment. So, how to differentiate entertainment and education? That is where a teacher has to be trained about.
Fantastic. So beautifully said, madam. that the blending of technology with pedagogy and the content is very important. This is a very celebrated method that we adopt in our teacher training. We call it, and this is known as TPAC. So technology, pedagogy, and content and assessment. All four of them are fused together in what is it called the TPAC method. And this is what the teachers need to learn. This is what I hear you say. Right, ma'am?
Yes.
Excellent. I see that large number of people have joined our webinar also. So before I come to Reena ma'am, I request all of you to please share some of your questions, some of your queries with this erudite panel that we have with us, so that we can take some of these questions and we can have some discussion on a few of the questions also. Yes, Reena ma'am. So we are your turn to tell us what are the emerging needs of teacher training.
Yes, sir. 21st century is customizable century, The teacher now whose role has shifted from teacher to facilitator needs to adapt herself to the use of technology and to personalized learning. We have seen even the younger, as man said, teacher is first a learner. How apt is that, ma'am? We are learning with Google Classroom. Children have become so smart. They log in before you, they become the host, and they are so eager. The teacher enters and they remove her. So earlier, few teachers did not understand. Then we got to know there is something called a setting also. We need to go there, we need to change it. So now we are also learning. So the first thing is that teachers need to become little fearless. They need to get into the thing that they are going to use the technology, they are going to make learning interesting. The most important is that, sir, it has become little monotonous. Few teachers, it's not with all the teachers, few teachers who really want to impart, who really want to give the knowledge to children, they come up with online learning. So many things are there. As ma'am said, better than offline learning. I can share a video when I'm teaching Hitler. I can really show them what a boy in stripes, few scenes of boy in striped pajamas. I can tell them about Life is Beautiful, the Spanish movie about Holocaust. I can tell them, I can show them how Hitler used to practice, how people used to say Hail Hitler, which they would have only imagined had it been offline class. But the basic thing is that teachers need training. Maybe like as your platform does it, taking little help from Genio, taking like using the other sources, teachers can really make their learning very smart. So teachers training is of utmost important right now. Thank you.
Okay, so this is something very important that is coming up here, is that teachers training is very important part. And what I hear is that if I can try to summarize it, is that the use of technology, effective use of technology to engage students, to create a meaningful interaction with students, is the need of the hour. And there, not just the adoption of technology, but infusion of technology is required, blending of technology, pedagogy, content, and assessment. Assessment is something that also you have not said, but I'm sure that it is there in the back of your mind, because when you are teaching, assessment has to be there. How do we know that what you are teaching is effective or not? So all these four aspects will have to be brought together, and teachers will require some more better understanding of that. I still remember that even before the corona, there were schools who were using smart boards. But then if there is a problem in the sound, they will say IT guy should come. Some child will go and call the IT guy and fix up that sound problem. Now the teachers have kind of graduated, and they are much more savvier, and they do not need IT guys now at all. So the point is that, so this there has been a shift in the whole notion. I would call it epistemic shift, where the teacher was kind of a custodian of all the pristine knowledge, and students were the receivers. Now it is the active learning. The onus of active learning has gone on to students, and teacher is at the best the more knowledgeable other, if I may use the phrase of Vygotsky. So the point is that when students are becoming self-directed learners themselves, the personalized learning makes a very important role, and it has a very important role in that. For students, improvement of learning outcome and learning experiences are very important benefits of the personalized learning. At the same time, we have the experience of large number of schools adopting personalized learning to enhance their reputation as an institution that value the support of individual students' learning. So the issue is that in this school closure highlighted this particular, the ownership of learning has to go on the students. And research also shows that the learning, personalized learning is very important. I would like to know, how are you planning to leverage the personalized learning platforms to augment students' unique learning potential in this kind of a time?
So what we have done is we have asked students to prepare presentations and present it before the class. So we always we had this in our mind, like even we tried it earlier, even as students. When we explained a concept to someone else, we remembered it better. So this was what it was. I mean, we all understood well in, when we were students. So we have implemented this with right now, wherein we make like students come up with explanations, wherein the teacher becomes the student and the student takes up the role of a teacher and explains the concept to the entire class. So wherever the child goes wrong, then and there the teacher takes up the ownership of correcting it so that nothing wrong reaches the other students. So this is one of the method that we are following.
This is fantastic. This is called refinement method of teaching. So Richard Feynman, the great Nobel laureate, had said that if you want to learn something better, you start teaching it. And when you start teaching it, then you know that how much you do not know and what are the areas of improvement. Yeah, but then the point that I was asking you is about the personalized learning scenarios that are emerging, where the technology is making an important role in that. So is there something that is coming up? Are your students using some of those kind of personalized learning tools? And how, if the students are using the personalized learning tools, how you as a teacher or your teachers, you as an administrator or your teachers, how are they going to take advantage of the learning analytics that are coming up through the personalized learning apps to inform their own teaching? Is there some such kind of a thing is happening at your end also, or would you think of something like that in future to get into it? While I may come back to you again, I will go back to Reena ma'am on this. How are you trying to take leverage of, how are you trying to take advantage of this personalized learning scenario emerging? You have to unmute, Reena ma'am. So by the time, Reena ma'am, you have to unmute. There is some problem at your end. You are not able to unmute. So there is a joke going around that students are talking to each other that now the school is opening. Is there any app that how can I mute my teacher?
Yes, sir. They
Yes.
really want to come and feel the school now. Now I think they are able to realize, even the parents are able to realize, after a rainy weekend, we had a code, after a rainy weekend, parents understand what is the importance of school. Now after so many days in home, they must have really guessed it. Okay, coming back, yes. As ma'am said, we are doing the same thing, giving them the projects. Few things are not taught, and few things are given as projects to them to teach everyone. A brighter student is given the task to explain, or he is made the group leader. A part is given to him to use PPTs, or he can put a video and explain the children. That is how we are taking advantage of it.
Okay. Pradeep sir.
Yeah, actually, what Pratima madam, Reena madam said, exactly we are also doing that. We are giving the case study before coming to the topic, and we are making the group of the students. They have to prepare the PPT, and they have to go for the, if they need, they can go for the role play. They can go for the role play also. But this way also we are going the personal learning, because when before coming to the topic, when given the case study, definitely they will going for the search for any earning labs or apps or something else. So they will coming with the presentation. So we are just going in that line also.
Okay. We have lost Pradeep. Okay, so Pratima ma'am, I come back to you. You were supposed to say something when.
Ask me about the platforms, right? Like Genio is one of those platforms which we are which we are bringing up, the knowledge of which is being shared with the teachers. Apart from that, there are a couple of other things like the OLabs and which are readily available in the internet. So even the teachers have started using these platforms, and along with that, they've started creating their own videos, their own presentations, wherein they are able to facilitate this in a better way. As you said, now teachers are more like guide by the side with the help of these technology. Thank you.
So one of the things that has happened during this pandemic, and you all must have experienced it, is that the schools were closed, and parents have been quite reluctant to send their students, send their wards to their school for some known reasons. Yes, but then we have also got the reports from many of the schools from the middle and the bottom of the pyramid that they had a problem of getting even the fees from the parents. And what we have seen is that they said that when we are not sending our students to the school, why should we pay the fee and all that? So there was a major kind of economic constraint that was put on these schools. Now that many of these kind of schools are adopting this personalized learning to enhance their reputation, as I said, and even at the cost of repeating myself, I want to tell you that they are trying to enhance their reputation as an institution who value and support the individual students' learning. Now, students' learning is not just about giving them the projects. It is about, where students are able to decide their own learning path. They know that what I know and how much I know, and they can decide on their own that that empowers their own learning experience. That is, the decisions of assessments are on them. They can see that okay, this is the problem, these are the issues, so they can go for the assessment. They can see their assessment, and that assessment, the artificial intelligence led those kind of assessment would tell them that hey, this is the concept that you are not understanding properly, and therefore go back to that understanding, and it will also suggest some certain kind of resources that you should go through these kind of resources. So in essence, these kind of personalized learning apps and personalized learning devices are changing the instructional strategies. My question is that these strategies are being used by many of these schools to reclaim their so-called lost ground with the parents and with their students, and to a great effect, because students are loving it and teachers have their role now quite cut out. So students will come to ask Reena ma'am that, Reena ma'am, I want to understand the difference between Nazism and fascism. They are two things, similar kind of a things, but are there differences? So there, Reena ma'am comes in, and not just telling them that Hitler was called Führer. That is not the kind of a role that teacher has. So from this point of view, I'm just asking you that what is the kind of a scenario emerging at your end?
Yeah,
The
I tell
parents,
children, yeah.
the parents' response, the schools kind of reclaiming their lost position, how are they going to come in?
Okay, for personalized learning, sir, I feel Google is a great tool for personalized learning. You
Okay.
know, with the help of algorithms, like I have put something about Harry Potter. Seeing my history, they can really suggest me. You know, Google will tell me about the books available, the best offers. They will tell me about the movies. They will even tell me about Daniel Radcliffe, who played the role of Harry Potter. So, you know, these search engines are also a way of personalized learning. That is what I feel.
Okay. Veena ma'am?
Yeah, how are we reclaiming, sir? We are like organizing more and more of competitions which we did not organize last year, trying to make it more interesting, contacting parents more, asking for their suggestions. Things have really changed this year.
Okay. Pratima ma'am?
Sir, there's one thing which is very important for all of us, that is to make the students understand what they really don't understand, what they have really not learned. So
Yes.
this was a little difficult when the learning was totally offline, because students never accepted that they did not understand a particular thing, and it was easy for them to reach out for help and get the answer somehow and write it and finish it off there. But now, because of these personalized learning apps, what we have understood is even the parents are able to realize where is the child going wrong. The parents can understand, okay, this is the concept that my child has not understood, and this is the way I have to guide my child. So this is the benefit that we are getting because of these personalized learning apps.
Okay. Pradeep sir?
Here I am facing a challenge.
Okay.
Like all the personalized apps, Google's, everything is there. We can find anything in Google and or any personalized app. But it's required for the student. They should be self-motivated.
Yes.
What I'm facing the problem over here, the student is not, 50% of students are not self-motivated. We have to drag them. We have to push them. So in that case, I'm facing challenges for the personalized apps, I'm just using Genio also. And I have taken the cane and go for the online classes also and the digital classes also. But one problem I'm facing, if the students are not self-motivated and they're not asking, they're not going for that apps. That is my problem. So I'm just looking for that kind of solution for that students, those who have motivated themselves and come to see the like your personal apps or online classes properly.
Any views from Reena ma'am and Pratima ma'am on Pradeep sir's query?
Yes, sir. Pradeep, sir, I have seen, the children who generally miss the classes, if you pinpoint to them, they say they know that acha class miss ho gaya na, I'm going to see it from Genio or Vedantu or any other apps, and they come out with they understand the things, they'll explain you also. So the apps are really somehow I feel, are they replacing the teachers, physics, mathematics, especially I have seen they go for apps because I don't know, but sometimes children find it difficult to understand physics. And here on the with these apps, you can listen to it again and again. So that really helps in understanding. That is personally I have seen it, sir.
Okay.
My problem is different. My problem, those students
motivation.
Motivation. That is the point.
When teachers pinpoint, and we teachers are good at it, we know how to make a child understand that he has not understood anything, as she has said, and we can that he can really find the ways to get it done.
Sure. That's why I'm telling you the very beginning that the teachers should understand how to make the class interesting through the apps, through the personal, whatever may be. That is more important.
Okay. So now we have got some interesting questions, and I will come up with the first one, which I have faced several times. So earlier, when I used to go the face-to-face time, I used to do teacher training all over the country and abroad. The first question that I would ask is that, do you think that students should be given smartphones? And in unison, teachers will say no. Today, we are buying smartphones for our kids because that has become the essential ingredient for them. Now, I have a question still, is that, and Chidanand Jayaram is asking this question: what would be the solution to reduce the screen addiction of children? Any one of you could respond. Do you think that it is a screen addiction that we need to deal with?
Actually, honestly, now is essential to provide the your smartphone to the students. But you have, before giving the smartphone, we have to teach them what they should not do and don'ts. If they learn, then understand the don'ts, then they will do good. Because now you cannot stay without a smartphone, because any online classes, any, because we are going to do what the our part half of life will go for the online, 50% online and 50% offline. It will go a couple of years. So in this time, we cannot avoid smartphone. But before giving the smartphone, we have to teach them that do and don'ts properly. If they understand don'ts, then they will do good.
Okay. Pratima ma'am wants to say something.
So it's about the screen time. So probably we have to set examples. Parents at home need to set examples for the screen time. The problem that we are facing. If I am if I'm holding a book in my hand and reading that, my child will definitely feel like, okay, my mama is doing something which is away from the screen time. So why not I try it? But if we as parents, if we are so much into cell phones, televisions, laptops and all, then I don't think we can tell our children not to do it. Here, when the students were coming to school, it was in the hands of the teachers. Education was bound there. But now that we cannot go to a house and say, like, I will snatch away the phone from you, and if you don't reduce the screen time, that is not possible. So first thing is, like, parents should set examples, and beyond that, when you tell them don't, tell them why. That is very much essential.
But it is interesting what Pradeep sir was saying has come up to us in a very interesting and beautiful question. And I'm reading it. Around what age do you think students' choice and agency, the constructs that define personalized learning, becomes an important factor in their learning? Or should matter of student agency and choice be universally acceptable and irrespective of the age? This is what Pradeep sir was saying in a different language, is that what they should not see, that discretion should be there in their mind. So this question is that, is there an age bar that you should say that, yes, after this age, you can have the personalized learning solutions, and you can take a look at your mobile and go to the apps and visit websites?
But now, how can you say that a fixed is bar? Because in this situation, you cannot fix the bar. You have to give them. Because now in the nursery classes also, teachers are giving the online classes. So what do you have to do? That should not be an age bar.
Okay. Any other views, Pratibha ma'am? Should Reena ma'am, should there be a kind of an age bar? Do you think that for the agency of students?
We cannot really fix an age bar for that. The times are demanding that we need to give them phones. A little sensitization, regular check from the parents. Parents play a major role here. To tell them that this much, like, they can allot them the time, 4 hours, 5 hours, the phone is all yours. After that, you need to give the phone to me. Parents need to seize it. I feel for the 9th and 10th students, parents really need to be little strict, because that is the thing, that is the age where they need to be taken care of. So they need to be told that this is the time you can have your phone, do whatever you want, and then give back the phone to the parents.
No, ma'am, we have moved away from the question of screen time. We are now asking about student agency. When we say personalized learning, then students take control of their own learning. And the question is that, from the pedagogical point of view, from a point of view of a teacher, when do you think it is the time for the students to take that their own learning in their own control? Watching Tom and Jerry on video is also important, but what is that kind of an age when they should be allowed, and you think that that is good for them, that they can take control of their learning? We can really have trust in their agency.
We can't really fix the age, sir.
Okay.
It depends upon the interest of the child.
All right. Pratima ma'am?
I second here, sir. It totally depends on the child. It cannot be like we even see that there are many students who would be in class 10 and still they wouldn't be knowing what is that they want to take up for class 11. So when the mindset of children differs, so we cannot fix an age. We cannot tell that this is the age where the child should get into personalized learning. So it depends on the environment as well. The kind of environment the children are growing in, it might be the home, it might be school, so and the kind of friend circle they have. So based on that, the child chooses to learn personally. So we cannot fix an age for that.
Pradeep sir, you had flagged this core concern. Do you have some views on this?
Sorry? Hello?
You had flagged this core concern.
Yeah.
So the question is now that what is there some kind of an age when you can trust students to take the learning of their own in their hands? And
No, it depends. That's why it depends. Now you cannot snatch the mobile phone from the students, from a child, because when they get money, a born child also, they're just going for the mobile phone. They're just looking for the mobile phone. They're having their food with the looking for the mobile phone. So it depends. As for the demand of the students, we have to provide them. There is no age bar. No.
Okay. So I take up another question that has come from us. Swati Nirantare asked this question. How keen do you think parents are accepting this new method of learning? As somewhere we have seen their role needs a lot of involvement and not just limit of dropping the kids to the schools only. So this is a very interesting change that has happened in this pandemic times, that when parents used to just come and drop their kids to the school and then collect the kids from the school, now they are partners in their education. What do you think, how parents are accepting this new way of learning? What is your experience?
I believe it is as new as the pandemic for the parents. In the sense, this started afresh. Earlier, there were parents from the day one who they started sending their children to school. They looked into each and every book they had, each and every chapter they studied, each and every marks they got. But at the same time, there were also parents, as you said, who just dropped them to school and picked them back from school. So this is a new scenario for the parents who were of the second category. So yes, it is in the parents' hand to accept this and understand what is their role in involving into this. See, this is not just about marks. At least now, many parents have realized the interest of their children. Now that they've got a lot of time to spend with their children, they've understood what really does the child need. Is there something beyond books that the child is interested in? Is there any kind of other activity the child wants to get into? So these things are also coming up because the parents have started involving into it. So
okay.
This is my view.
All right. Reena ma'am?
Yeah, this has brought new awareness amongst parents. As ma'am said, there were two set of parents, one who would be bothered about even the little thing, a child not involved in any activity and all, and the second set who really didn't bother. Now, since they have to sit, many of them are even enjoying, reliving their childhood memories. That is what we have seen.
Involvement of the parents is very much essential to all the childs, because they're emotionally and physically everything they're related with the parents. They're observing the parents, what they are doing. And the parent can understand the child much more than us, much more than a teacher. So involvement of parents is more essential, and they have to understand what the child is required and what the child wants.
Okay. Are we losing your voice somewhere? Because can you come up once again, sir?
Yeah, now audible?
Yes.
Actually, the involvement of the parents with the
Yes.
child is very much essential. because the student, the child are very much emotionally related, attached to the parents. They have to understand. The parents can better understand their child than a teacher and then other person. So the parents should involve, they should understand and then make them the students culture. The culture is coming from their background only. So parents should be involved with the students.
Yes, and in one of the ways that parents will have a major role to play is that as we are discussing the personalized learning scenarios, so that parents will have a major role to play, because this is what they will have to encourage their students to go for it and find out how it has to be done. But there is another flip side of the parents' involvement, is that in the junior classes, at least some of the teachers in earlier episodes, they raise their concerns that parents are unnecessarily becoming poking their nose into and evaluating teachers. Now, teachers are in the open domain. You know, what you are doing is uh, uh, is known to everybody, and then anybody can come and then say that you should be teaching like this, you should not be teaching like this, and all that. So that kind of a parental involvement and parental interference are very thin line between them, and especially when we are talking of the technology. What are your quick views? Did I not make myself clear? The parental involvement and parental intrusion into teaching and learning, parents coming and telling you how to teach, has been some of the concerns for some of the people. Is that something, some kind of a concern for you?
Sir, rather than calling it a concern, it has to be, yes?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, it is seen that parents are taking up the role of the teachers. So we have also seen in the classes wherein the teacher is teaching the child, but the parent is sitting next to the child and repeating what the teacher is telling. So this has been a concern for at the initial days when the teacher used to feel offended.
Yeah.
And there are scenarios when parents have openly, in the class, spoken about the teacher, and these things we've already faced it. But yes, it is a concern to some extent. More than a concern, it is something for the parents to understand. The difficulty of the teacher is being, it is being a kind of shouldered by the parents now. They are able to understand how difficult is it for a teacher to explain a particular concept to the child and make the child understand. Earlier it was like the ownership totally was on the teacher, and the parent they could only come and question, like, why did my child get these many marks, why couldn't my child score better? But now, looking at the way the child is learning, the parent is able to understand that the fault is not in teaching, the fault is not just with the teachers, it is also with their own children. So this is a kind of advantage as well.
Okay. Veena, ma'am.
Yeah, I beg to differ here, sir. Parents never realize, the problem is with their children. They always feel, say, other koi alag method use kar lete. Why didn't she explain again? Yes, in junior classes, it's a big problem because their parents sit with the children. And like the tendency is to pinpoint. I feel many times they sit just to point, like put out which things are wrong or how it could have been done in a better way. So yes, parent intrusion is a problem, sir, because of online classes. But it was last year. This year, it's little smoother.
And this is the last parting kind of a question. We are coming to the end of the session almost. Is that this is also the time to realize that in the face-to-face kind of a scenario where one size fits all was the approach, now teachers are becoming aware, the schools are becoming aware of the fact that individual students have individual requirements. And that is where the theme of our discussion is that personalized learning uh, scenarios are becoming more and more important. So teachers have a better kind of an understanding that how individual students' requirements have to be understood and taken into account? What is your general view on that? So let me frame it as a question, is that the personalized learning scenario that is emerging, which has changed the way in which the teaching was happening, where the teachers and students are kind of co-creators of knowledge, and students can chart out their own learning path. They become more and more responsible, and becoming responsible is not one day's job. I may be accused by my own kids that you are not responsible, and I just smile. Yes, maybe. So, giving the agency to the students by using these kind of personalized learning, and then teachers adopting a very different kind of a role, where those personalized learning analytics and learnings from that getting fed into their teaching in such a way that each student's specific concerns are being met with. Is this presenting a better scenario of education? Is the education ready to become more engaged and more meaningful to each one of the students? That is the question. Pradeep sir.
It is, yes, yes. But one thing, no apps, no personalized learning can replace the teachers.
Yes.
Teachers is required. Teachers can guide. Any app they are using by the students, teachers must be there because they are mentors. Mentors will require for when they are mentoring the students, it must require. So any apps, personal learning system, whatever they are using, teacher is must. And teachers will guide the students how to use that apps and how to use the personal learning.
Yes, bilkul.
As you asked, if at all this is helping us, yes, of course it is. It is helping teachers, like the personalized learning apps are helping us to understand that no child is the same, and no child is born a blank slate. That is for sure. Every child has one or the other kind of ability which has to be nurtured, which has to be recognized before nurturing. So these apps are helping us to recognize the learning gaps first. So, as you said, when a child is able to understand where the child has gone wrong, and when these personalized apps they give instructions about what is that they have to go back and learn in order to complete that question, so that is where the learning gap is understood by the child. So, in this way, the apps are being a lot beneficial.
Yes, to identify the learning gaps and then come up with a specific kind of intervention to plug in those kind of gaps. Fantastic. Veena ma'am.
Yes, sir. Using these apps, frequent short quizzes, games, the students are engaged. And, they can pinpoint the areas where more training is needed, where more attention is needed. It enhances learning skill. Obviously, teacher has to be there, but they really help in learning.
So, any last words from your side, sir? We have come to an end of our 1 hour sing by 2 minutes or so. We are almost there. So now before I thank you all, I want you to have your last words from each one of you, starting with Pratima ma'am.
So we have come to understand that change is the only thing that is prominent, that is permanent. So adapting or adaptability has become the challenge which we are taking up in a good way, and we are able to get over it. So thanks to technology, and yes, pandemic, we have to thank that as well. So that otherwise this new method of learning would never come up. Thank you.
So well said. Pradeep sir.
Personal relation must required. Personal touch must required. And the personal learning also required. We have to adapt the new technology for the betterment of their study and career. And thanks to pandemic, fortunate or unfortunate, we have learned so many things, and they taught us so many things, and they're just taking toward the new technology. Thank you.
So well said. Yes, ma'am. Veena ma'am.
Yeah. Both teachers and students need to be responsible for their respective teaching and learning, I feel. Students need to become independent and lifelong learners. Then I feel, a step-by-step guide which can be prepared by academic institution that can guide teachers and students on how to assess and use various e-learning tools and how to cover major curriculum content, via these technologies, thereby reducing digital illiteracy. We teachers really need to gear up to come compete with the children for the technology. Thank you so much. Technology is for help for sure.
Thank you. Fantastic. So what I am getting it is that we all agree that technology, unlike the popular belief, is that technology isolates, makes you self-centered. Technology is the requirement of coming together. A collective requirement is there. The technology is required for the teachers. Technology is required for the students, and technology is required for the administrators. All of them have to come together, and technology brings them together rather than it separates them. And we need to know how to judiciously use the personalized learning apps. Our attempt has always been that personalized learning apps are not something that students are using on their own and teachers are totally isolated. As Veena ma'am once said, is that are the teachers becoming irrelevant? I always had this fear. Many people have this fear, is that teachers are going to become the next dinosaurs. But no, that is not going to be so simple. Teachers will remain central to this so long as teachers are also developing themselves and growing up along with this newer kind of a scenario. Thank you so much. Thank you, each one of you. You have really brought in very rich perspective from different parts. Veena ma'am from Nagpur, uh, Pratima ma'am from Bangalore, and Pradeep sir from Bolandi, Odisha. Absolutely fantastic. I thank you from the core of my heart and profusely to be a part of this. We are creating what we call the community of practice. So we would like to interact with you. This should not be one of interaction with you only, and we would like to continue interacting with you on the other platform. And we should create a community of practice that will lead us to a brighter future of collecting, of carving out a collective wisdom for us. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, all the participants, everybody who made this webinar possible. Thank you to the communication team, to the technology team, to the academic team, everybody. Bye bye, and see you for the next episode of. Thank you.